My 4-3, my 4-3. Yeah.
Right, so we've been speaking to Sarah and we've been speaking to Ant, and we've got their sort of very British version of this. And now on the podcast, I have the unofficial mayor of Green Bay, Kyle Cousineau. Kyle, welcome, first of all. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, no problem, Steve. Thank you so much. And before we even get into what I've got going on, again, congratulations to you on being named the International Fan of the Year for the Packers, dude. That is so freaking cool and so well deserved. Good for you, man.
I appreciate it. I'm Irish, so I squirm under like compliments and stuff, so I don't know what to do with myself. Kyle, I think we have to start here. I know you as sort of, you're an ethereal being, if I may now. You're just an omnipresence in Packers fandom. You're just everywhere, right? But can you give us a bit of a background to who you are? And I know you're sort of thinking, Steve, I'm the unofficial mayor of Green Bay. For God's sake, everyone knows who I am.
I would never say that, first of all.
You wouldn't.
Okay.
Well, yes, I overstepped there. You definitely wouldn't. But come here, Kyle. That's an Irish phrase. Come here. Tell us a bit about yourself and how you've become known now as the unofficial mayor of Green Bay. How has that all come about?
Well, as far as that nickname goes, before I get into my background, that's all because of Jersey Al from Cheesehead TV. I met Jersey Al 15 years ago down in Dallas prior to the Super Bowl. And he was always, he and we became fast friends down in Dallas. And we remained in touch over the years. And he's been to Green Bay numerous times. He's come by our tailgate. He would get people through his old website. Now he's part of Cheesehead TV. People that would be on his message board saying, hey, what should I do in Green Bay? What should I do prior to the game or the night before or the weekend of? Where should I stay? I need restaurant recommendations and such. And Jersey Al would always say, you got to get a hold of Kyle on Twitter. So I would just get, it's been going on now for 15 years. People just hit me up on Twitter asking me, where should we tailgate? What bars should we go to? We need restaurant recommendations. And back to your original question, I'm born and raised in Green Bay. I've lived here my entire life, with the exception of a couple of years when I went away for school. I'm a proud Green Bay resident, born and raised. I'm a small business owner in Green Bay. I have a very, very deep passion for this city, not just the team, but this city. As far as that nickname goes, I still, to this day, my big thing is I try to facilitate ticket transaction between Packers fans. I've been doing it for, better part of 15 years. And I use my social media channels. In every game, I'm helping out dozens of people. Over the years, I've facilitated hundreds of transactions. I've helped thousands of Packer fans get into Lambeau Field, and I don't charge anybody a nickel. It's just a service that I do for free because, again, I am very, very passionate about this city, about this team, about getting fans into Lambeau Field and Packer fans in general. I just have a deep passion for that, and I love nothing more than somebody that will stop by our tailgate in Lot 3 at Lambeau Field on their way into a Packers game, and they stop by and it's a father and a son, or a father and a daughter, or a just married couple that's coming in to experience Lambeau Field for the first time. It's just something that I have a deep passion for.
Yeah, and look, it comes across, and I think, you seem too humble a man to sort of lean into the whole unofficial mayor of Green Bay thing, but in a way it's good because that is your brand and that is what you do. But here's my question, right? Because we've known of you, I'd say. This is the first time that we've actually got down to sit to chat, which is criminal in itself.
Right.
But you sort of came across people's radars over here, Kyle, just with that Premier League, Newcastle and Green Bay wife swap, if you will. For
That's a good way to put it, I guess. Yeah.
So they sent over. But look, if someone came to me and said, who from Green Bay could we get that would be the antithesis of what it is like to be a Green Bay resident, be proud of Green Bay, be proud of the team, and be completely invested like you are without having a commercial interest in it, you're just the guy, right? I would have pointed to you instantly. But my question is how did they find you? How did they hit the nail on the head with you? And how did you get involved with that project to bring Sarah and Anth over?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it was an incredible honor to be chosen. So what happened was it was either late October or early part of November. I received a phone call from Packers Public Affairs Department. They said that they were going to pass along my information to the folks at the NFL UK office over in London. Because if folks don't know, the NFL is trying to grow the game, right? And as we know, with the 9 international games that are coming up this next year, um, and the Packers public affairs department, they asked me to be a part of it. And according to what they said, I was the first and only name that they chose, that they talked about. So then I jumped on a Zoom call with some people from the NFL UK office, and I think they wanted to get to know me a little bit just to see what I'm all about. And I told them the exact same thing that I just told you previously. I'm passionate about this city, this team, this stadium, and getting Packer fans to come to Green Bay. And from there, it was kind of, we ran with it. And when they asked me if I would be a part of it, I didn't know anything about this project. So this was the second iteration of Discovering Football, as they call it, right? It's a marketing agreement between the NFL and the English Premier League. And last year there was a gentleman from Buffalo that went over to Liverpool, and he got to experience a match at Liverpool. And then actually, I think first the Liverpool fans went over to Buffalo to experience a game over there. So when they told me that this was a documentary that was going to live on YouTube, I found that episode, and I reached out to John Lang from Buffalo. I said, "Hey man, you don't know me, but I just talked to the people at the NFL in London, and they want me to be a part of this. What was your experience like?" And he could not have said more. He couldn't have had more glowing comments about the whole thing. He said it was just an incredible experience. It was top notch. From the people at the NFL office to the Premier League to, obviously the Buffalo Bills picked him to do it or asked him to be a part of it. He said everything was top notch. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to start learning a little bit, not just about English football, but about Newcastle United.
Yeah, and
So,
that's my next question, Kyle. I mean, how much did you know about English soccer before all
oh
of this?
man, it was very, very, very surface level knowledge. There was a kid from Green Bay, a buddy of mine, that played over in England for a bunch of years, Jada Merritt. He played for Watford, right? He has that. If you've seen Rocky movies, it's like that Rocky story where he just keeps going and building his way up and building his way up until finally, when Watford was in the second tier English league, he scores the goal that gets them promoted, to the Premier League. But back when Jay was playing, Peacock, in the U.S., NBC Sports and Peacock have that partnership with the
Mm.
Premier League. So now we can watch every EPL game that is going on. Back then, when Jay was playing, that wasn't the case. We didn't have streaming partners. You got maybe 1 or 2 games a week on TV. So my knowledge of the Premier League was very basic.
Mm.
I even prior to this agreement that we have going on now in this partnership with Newcastle United, I don't know if I could have told you all 20 teams in the Premier League. I can now because I've jumped into it.
Yeah.
I I like to joke that I'm a diehard Newcastle United fan
Yeah.
as of December 2nd of 2025, I think it was. But prior to this, I might have been able to name 15 of the 20 teams in the Premier League. I don't know if I'd ever watched an entire soccer match in my life, Premier League soccer match. I mean, obviously, when the U.S. is playing in the World Cup, we get patriotic and we watch those matches, right? But this is I've certainly watched more Premier League football than I have in 10 lifetimes leading up to this, since December. So it's been pretty wild and pretty crazy that I've jumped in as much as I have. My wife thinks I'm nuts because if first thing on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, if Newcastle United's playing, I'll pour a cup of coffee and sit down and watch the match. You know what I mean?
Funny, because you're like us. I mean, Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night football for us is 1 a.m. starts, right? So it's probably
Right.
not as brutal as that, but casuals bars open. But Kyle, look, it's amazing, really, because, because I would imagine there's a number of different roles you could take. Is that, in your position, you could say, look, it's not my part to be too involved in the soccer side of things right now. I'm just going to welcome them to Green Bay and show them what we have. But it just shows how thorough you are, that you really took a deep dive in. But to pivot slightly onto inviting them to Green Bay, because you are so passionate about the team and the town. So you had these two strangers at the time, and I know they're good friends now, coming over. What did you have on your list, Kyle? Because you cover so much in that documentary between the bike riding and your brother and Reggie. and
Yeah.
him on his bike and stuff like that. And again, I'm passionate about it. I have a share cert with my name on it behind me right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
absolutely passionate about it. I love the history of it. I sat for probably an hour with Cliff Crystal in Lambeau Field when we came over, just picking his brain on sort of all of the history side of things. But in your head, Kyle, what was your sort of list of stuff that you wanted to get across to, these two strangers, as I say, coming over? What did you want them to leave Green Bay knowing?
I wanted them to know how passionate Packer fans are. I wanted them to know the sense of community that we have, and they mentioned it so many times in that documentary. And you've been here, you know how small this city is, right? I think we're the 307th largest, or maybe you could even say
Smallest, yeah.
smallest city in the United States. And the fact that we have one of 32 NFL franchises, it doesn't make sense. I
Yeah.
mean, if we talked about when Anthony and Sarah were here, that if Green Bay didn't have a team, and if the NFL were to expand, and Green Bay put in for an expansion franchise, the people at the NFL offices wouldn't even read the proposal. They would say it doesn't make any sense, right? So the fact that we have a team that's been in existence now for over 100 years, and we've had some pretty dang good success over that 100-year period, obviously, with the 13 world championships and the 4 Super Bowls. Like, back to your question, like, I wanted them to understand the sense of community. We have a phrase, Wisconsin nice, or Midwest nice. Like, we're a very welcoming committee, and we're a very welcoming community. We every home game, we have people from all over the world that will stop by our tailgate party, right? I mean, they showed it in the documentary. We have a French flag that flies. It's the only one in the lot. And we'll have people from all over Europe that stop by. Last year we had, I think a bunch of those guys from the German Packer fan group. Like, they came by our tailgate party. We've had some of your members that have stopped by our tailgate parties over the years. Like, we have a sense of community that I think is very rare due to the size of our community altogether. That was the big thing that I wanted them to get the sense of what this team means to us as people that are born and raised in Green Bay, that rely on this, 8, 10, 12 potentially home games a year.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, and there's so much to it for us, and again, it was interesting sort of hearing from someone, because we spend our dollars to go over and we're passionate about it. I brought a guy over on one of the tours who had seen the Ice Bowl on TV somehow,
Yeah,
and he'd never been to Green Bay, and that blew my mind, because it was because again, the Ice Bowl is a massive thing now, and you go behind the scenes
right,
on the tour, they have all of the stuff in the Packers Hall of Fame. You go in and they have you can almost feel the temperature when you go into that room and all. So it's a big
right.
deal now. But back then, I don't know how he got onto it, but we brought him over for the first time, and to hear from Sarah and Anthony about it, and with them not having that sort of like Packers obsessed lens to it, was really, really interesting.
Right.
So, what did you gauge off them when they come over? I mean, because they're used to soccer, and soccer people, and again, people are going to kill me over here for that because it's football over here, right?
Right. I know.
But
I know.
soccer fans over here, they look at American football and say there's too many breaks, they don't really get what's going on. And then you'll have American fans looking at soccer saying it's boring. You can have a 0-0. Why is there a tie in some of these
Right.
games? Like, that's nonsensical, right?
Right.
So it helped, I guess, that the game they saw was the Chicago Bears, for one, massive
A
rivalry,
hundred
and second
percent.
off that, you got their jerseys, which had 25 on it, and then Nixon comes down with the interception in the end zone to end the
Yeah.
game,
I
right? So it's
mean,
really exciting.
it was poetic, man. Like, that was just incredible, because when we were at the pro shop, the people at the pro shop were nice enough to gift them a jersey, and I don't know if they could have told you a single player on the Packers roster other
Yeah,
than Dan Whelan,
yeah,
because Dan's a Newcastle United fan. His dad's a Geordie. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So I think they probably, in a couple weeks prior to them coming to Green Bay, I think they probably tried to cram as much knowledge of the team and maybe of the game in as quickly as possible. So they when we were at the pro shop, they had no idea who to get. and I don't recall if it was myself or my brother. We said, well, you could just get 25 for the year and get your names on the back. And I mean, it was so awesome that that's what they did, and the fact that Keyshawn Nixon came down with the game-sealing interception. I mean, it was like I said, man, it was poetic. Like storybook. You couldn't have written a better ending. And the fact that they had the 25 jerseys on it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, and they had a great time. I mean, and seeing them in the documentary and seeing that passion and then seeing them chat about it earlier on today
Yeah.
was fantastic. So let's have a look at you haven't done it yet. At least I have the benefit of talking to them when they've gone through the experience. So talk to me about your travel history, Kyle. I mean, do you travel outside the States a lot? Have you been to the UK or Ireland before?
Never been. Never been. It's always been a bucket list item. I've always wanted to get over to Ireland. I've always wanted to get over to England. And the fact that this is all kind of coming about like in the last few months, I'm so looking forward to it. Like I said earlier, like I've kind of jumped head first or feet first, I should say, into Newcastle United, and now my social media algorithms are all Newcastle. It's crazy. Like from the club to the restaurants and the pubs and the everything that goes on. And if there's something that's going on in Newcastle, it's on my Instagram or my Facebook or my Twitter feed. Like it's kind of crazy, And
So you're the official mayor of Newcastle somehow now as well. You know more about Newcastle than the people in Newcastle. Is that what we're saying? But
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. No, man, I'm so fired up. We're leaving in 2 weeks from this coming Sunday, and we're just this like yesterday and the day prior. We've kind of finalized some dates and stuff like that, so we're fired up, ready to go.
So look, I mean, you had this big sort of master plan to really ingratiate Anthony and Sarah with Green Bay and what it means, and the
Yeah.
city and what it means, and the team and what it means. And that was all stuff that you had control over. You don't have really control over now when you go over. And I know that Anthony and Sarah, and they wouldn't even tell me, they have all this really cool stuff planned for you and all of that. But,
Now,
we
now
don't
you got
know.
me nervous. I would have to text them and be like, "What the heck are you guys gonna
Yeah,
do?"
what are you saying? What's going on?
Yeah.
What do you
Right.
mean a matching tattoo?
Yeah.
So I guess my question to you, Kyle, is that what are you looking to get out of this trip, and what are you gonna try make sure that you don't leave England until you do X?
Yeah. I mean, aside from getting to see St. James's Park and going to the Newcastle United Sunderland match, like I'm excited to meet the people, right? Like I'm excited to meet Anthony's wife and Sarah's mom and meet the other their other friends and family and stuff like that. Like I'm a very like, personable person. Like I can talk to anybody. Maybe that's just my nature. Maybe it's the fact that I was a bartender for 20-ish years. Like I don't have a problem striking up a conversation. So I'm excited to meet the people. I'm excited to see
Yeah.
the city. And the fact that where you live and where they live, it's so much older than what we have here, right? Like I mean, their football club in Newcastle is just about the same age as the city of Green Bay. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like their ground where they play was I think 1882 or 1892. I mean, Green Bay was only a city for 30 years at that point. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see the history, the historic buildings, and obviously to see St. James's Park is going to be great, which 3 months ago I didn't even know existed, and now I'm super fired up to go check that out. I mean, I'm just excited to get over there and see them because like I said, we've kind of struck up a pretty cool friendship, with Anthony and Sarah. So the whole thing is going to be great. My brother and I are going to fly over, and we're actually going to spend a couple days in London, and then we're going to make our way up to Newcastle. Sarah tells me that I need to have some train beers while I'm on the train from London up to Newcastle.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's
I'm
standard
sure my
protocol.
brother
Yeah, yeah.
my brother and I will certainly have to do that. But just to experience everything, you know what I mean? The history to see some of the historic pubs that are in Newcastle that are by St. James's Park in downtown Newcastle. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it is crazy because that's why I love Green Bay. In fact, is the opposite. Is that I love the history of Green Bay and the team and the whole fanfare of it, the shares and the fact that Green Bay Packers nearly went broke about 5 times between Willard Bent nosediving out of the stands or Rockwood Lodge burning down, or even there was an Irishman actually. I don't know if you know this, Kyle. An Irishman saved the Packers in their second year, right? Cornelius Murphy. So Neil Murphy,
Okay.
where Hagemeister Park was an open field and they used to pass the hat, but Neil Murphy put out a thing in the paper to say, bring your hammers and wood or whatever you can down to Hagemeister Park. We're going to build a fence. And they built the fence around Hagemeister Park, and then that Sunday charged the Packers fans to go through it, right? So real cheeky Irishman. And I like that
That's
stuff. So
great.
I love the history of it. And for me in Ireland, I mean, I can look out my window now and I can see a wall in a field that's literally hundreds of years old. It's older than
Right.
America was established. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I love that sort of element, and I like that you appreciate it too. But look, um,
100%, man.
thanks very much for your time, Kyle. I cannot wait to find out how you get on. So we'll have to get you on again briefly and just talk about your experience. You'll have to tag us in an awful lot of your social media posts when you're in,
I
because
will.
that Sunderland game, that's a derby. That's like Bears, Packers for English football. So it's going to be
So
exciting.
I didn't know anything about either club prior to this whole deal, and there's a part of the documentary where we're sitting at my brother's house, and it's like basically just the four of us having a conversation. And one of the best parts about the whole experience was after the cameras were shut off, and we were just hanging out, and we were talking with the camera guys and the producer and the director, and there was a guy from the NFL UK office there, and we were just talking about like the Derby matches, right? And they
Mm.
were showing us a picture of a couple of years ago during the Tyne-Wear Derby, where there's a guy outside of the stadium where he's ready to haul off on a police horse. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me! Like, I mean, because that going back to what you asked me earlier, Steve, about like what my knowledge is or what my level of interest ever was in English football. For a dude that doesn't really watch soccer at all, doesn't know much about it, you always just assume that every match is rowdy, right? And the hooligans, And now watching Newcastle on TV every week, the singing and the cheering and the chants and the songs that go on, it's like, this is crazy, because at Lambeau Field, as you know, when the defense is on the field, we try to make as much noise as possible. But then
Mm.
when Jordan Love and the offense are on the field, we sit on our hands and
Yeah,
wait.
yeah.
We try to be as quiet as possible. But it seems like the European soccer fans, like, it doesn't matter if there's something going on. They're singing a song. They're chanting. They Sarah and Anthony have told my brother and I about the different songs that they sing about their rivals and stuff like that, and it's all so funny. I mean, like for us, we've got the Bears Still Suck.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
They've got playlists of songs that Sarah has sent us of the different chants that they sing or songs that they sing and chants that they scream. Especially with Sunderland match coming up here in a couple of weeks. Like I'm so excited to experience all of that because it's going to be something totally different than what we have in American sports.
Well, here's your mission then, Kyle. You need to go to England and you need to come back with a chant for Green Bay, and let's make a soccer atmosphere out of it when you get back to Green Bay. That's your challenge. I want to hear those pipes.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Right on. We'll see what we can do. We'll start it up in section 347 where my season tickets are, and hopefully it'll kind of work its way all the way around the lower bowl.
Yeah, no doubt. Not a question. Kyle, thanks very much, buddy. Appreciate you coming on.
You got it, Steve. Nice seeing you again, man.